Today, I'm sitting with Elise. Elise, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, on a day-to-day basis, currently, I work for like a cleaning company. So a few days a week I do that. And I'm not in school at the moment just because I'm just trying to figure out, my life and what I want to do. And COVID kind of ruined college for me. I was going to community college for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of just felt like it just wasn't what I wanted to be doing at the moment. It felt more like a chore, I guess, than like, I don't know.
No, I totally get that, you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on something that you eventually don't even need or wanted to do.
Well, and it's not a huge bummer because I didn't actually really spend any of my own money. It was paid for by like scholarships and stuff. And before that, I didn't even know like if I were to go to college what I would want to study or anything like that. So I just was working on generals and doing that. And I was doing fine. I just was kind of like not into it. Mostly just because like online classes just aren't really it for me. It's hard to like stay focused when you're not in the actual like classroom environment.
Totally. I feel the same way. I just saw something the other day. I think it was today actually. It's like your time is so valuable. Like when you give yourself, like your job is rented time from you, right? So like if you're giving up so much of your time to something you don't want to give it to, you're just renting that time to someone else. I think that's what it was. It was something like that.
Yeah, like employers are essentially like buying your time.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of the jobs I've worked have been in restaurants, but this is kind of my first like cleaning job, and I like it just because cleaning isn't hard. You just make it look good, and it pays pretty well. It's like a really nice building that I clean. But yeah,
support the podcast.
Yeah, support the podcast.
What was your childhood like?
It was good for the most part. I mean, my parents got divorced when I was 12. And there's a lot that goes into that, but I grew up. I have a good family. I grew up well, I guess. I mean, I can't complain. I mean, a lot of people's parents aren't together up until they're 12, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm the oldest of 3. I have 2 younger sisters, and one of them is 2 years younger than me, and the other is 4 years younger than me.
What were your parents like?
What were my parents like? Well, my dad is an insurance agent, and my mom, I'm not really sure what my mom does because she's not in my life at the moment. We'll get into that. But growing up, the way that I remember my parents is just very loving and very fun. They were never like strict or hard on us or anything like that. I always thought that they were considered cool parents. Pretty young, I guess. They got married when they were 26 and they had me when they were 27. So I'd say that's pretty young to have kids. But, as time goes on, people change, and in my eyes, they've always been good to me, but not everything always works out,
What is your fondest childhood memory?
Probably just the times when my sisters and my parents and us were all just together, enjoying life and being a whole family. Like, when I was a kid, I never thought that I would be someone that had divorced parents, and I never really understood that dynamic. And it's crazy because as you grow up, you realize that a lot of people don't stay married. And especially nowadays, a lot of people don't even want to get married because I think it's like half of marriages or something like that end in divorce. So it's kind of like, I feel like it kind of gives marriage a bad rep. And things have definitely changed. But I would say the fondest memory that I have with my parents is just being little and being a kid and not worrying about stupid shit, I just miss the carefree life of being a kid.
Totally.
Not knowing, like, how bad the world really is.
Do you want to get married?
As of right now, I would say no. Just because I'm only 20 years old, and if I were to get married, then I would want to wait until I was at least closer to 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I just see marriage and weddings as a lot of money, and not that I'm afraid of commitment or anything, but I just feel like marriage is just kind of like legally binding you to someone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have to be married to someone to be in love with them. Or even have a kid with them, I guess, but that just depends on like your beliefs.
It's whatever social constructs you decide to follow when it comes to that.
Yeah.
What do you want your future to look like?
I just want to be happy and healthy in my future. Like I said, I'm not really sure what my future will look like, but I am positive and I know that I'm on the right path and I want good things for myself and that I'm capable of achieving them. I'm not really sure what career I want to do long term yet, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing just because there's so much out there that I haven't seen or experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that I just want to live my 20s living my life and experiencing things and learning what I like and what I don't like, and eventually I'm sure I'll find my thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Why did your parents get divorced?
Okay, we're just going to jump into it. Well, it's actually a very, like, not typical situation, and a lot of it I still don't really know because it's such a weird situation. So I'll talk about what I do know, but I don't want to speculate and talk about things that I'm not sure about.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, my mom is Native American. I don't know if you knew that or not,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm half Native American. My dad is white. And I don't know if you're familiar with, like, Native American reservations
Mm-hmm.
and, like, what they're like. Like, what do you know about them?
That Native Americans live there.
Is that it?
I mean, for the most part. I mean, I know some things, but enlighten me.
Right. Well, I'm not really super familiar with it either just because my mom's side of the family is from North Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad's side of the family is from here, and I was born and raised here, so I'm more familiar with, like, this side of the family and, like, this way of life, I guess. But on, like, reservations and stuff, if you're Native American, depending on your tribe and all that, then you can get, like, free health care and all that and not have to pay for it because that stuff can be really expensive. And growing up, I just remember my mom would get, like, really bad migraines, like, all the time, and she would take, like, hydros for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember when I was, like, 12, she came to me and my sisters one time and was like, I'm going to ride the train to North Dakota to go to the doctors and, like, figure out what's wrong. And that's what she was going to do. And I remember she asked if we wanted to go with her. And that didn't really make sense to me because at the time I was, like, super into, like, not missing school. Like, I did not want to miss a day of school. I was like, I want, like, that perfect attendance certificate.
Totally.
And me and my sister didn't want to go with her because we were like, well, if you're only going to be gone for, like, a month or whatever, then we're just going to stay here with Dad. And she was like, all right, well, I'm going to go over there and do my thing, and then I'll come back. And that was supposed to be that. And then basically she went over there and then kind of just, like, cut off communication. And then a few months later, she, like, literally mailed my dad divorce papers in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I haven't seen her to this day. And it's just, like, really weird, especially when I talk about it, just because it happened so long ago that it's kind of just, like, part of my life. And when I think about it, it just, like, kind of trips me out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I haven't seen her since I was 12. We are kind of in contact. Like, we'll message on Facebook sometimes, but she doesn't really want to, like, tell me a lot of stuff. Like, she'll tell me she loves me and that she misses me. And she'll be like, pray for me, like, I love you, and, like, say all this stuff. So I'm really glad that I still have some sort of relationship with her, but the whole situation is just really weird. Like, it was really hard growing up and being a teenager and going through middle school and high school without a mom. And, you know, being the oldest of 3 girls, I felt like I needed to kind of, like, be the mom. So it's been hard, but
Mhm.
I think it's definitely played a big part in like who I am. And it's hard to like see my dad, you know, go through that because he's always been like the provider, you know. He took care of her. He's been the dad. He's done a good job raising us and he's tried his hardest. But I can't imagine being a single dad with 3 girls. Like, that's pretty overwhelming.
Totally.
And I know that it's been really hard, but I think he's done a really good job. And I just want him to have good things in life because he really didn't deserve that. And like I said, we still haven't really gotten like our closure. So,
Mhm. How do you think it has affected you?
well, it's affected me in a lot of ways. And as I get older, I definitely start to see that. Like I said, it's really hard being the oldest because I feel like I need to kind of like overcompensate and like play mom in a lot of ways. And looking back, I feel kind of bad because like when my mom left, I was 12. Like I had just turned 12. She left in November of 2013. No, it was November of 2012 because I had just turned 12 in October.
Mhm.
And then literally like a few months later, like February of 2013, like I got my first period.
Oh yeah.
And like my mom was like not there to be there for me, you know.
Yeah.
And like my sisters went through that by themselves too, and now like we're fine, it's whatever, but like those kind of moments, you know, like being a young like teen girl, like you kind of need your mom.
Yeah.
Like how is like, can you imagine like growing up without your mom?
No, totally. I get it for sure. It would definitely be pretty hard. I mean, especially you having to become the mom. What are some of the things you do to become the mom?
Well, just, you know, like trying to be there for my sisters in like a feminine type of way because, you know, dads don't pay attention to a lot of stuff. And my dad, you know, he always worked, he always provided. We always were fed, we always had clothes, we always were provided for. But, you know, just without like a mother figure in your life, it's hard and it affects you in ways you don't understand, but it also makes you really strong.
Mhm.
And I'm thankful because I feel like in a lot of situations it's like the dad that leaves. And
Yeah.
I feel like you don't hear about a lot of moms that leave. It's like taboo almost.
It is taboo for sure.
And in a way, like moms are very like nurturing and loving and they'll take care of you and help you with certain things. And I don't know, like parents both play a different role in a child's life.
Yeah.
And I feel like growing up without a mom has definitely affected me like emotionally, I would say. Like I feel like I have a harder time like opening up and connecting with people just because I'm still processing like a lot of those emotions and like that trauma. And I'm glad I came on just because like it feels good to talk about it.
Mhm.
And it doesn't even really like make me upset to talk about because it's been so long that I just want to like understand and like know the situation and not just assume and think the worst.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about going to North Dakota and meeting her?
Yeah, I have. I mean, it's really weird because she doesn't really want to like tell us like where she is or anything, so I feel like it would be kind of pointless to like go over there looking for her.
Mhm.
And I just tell myself that everything happens for a reason and maybe it's better that she's not in my life right now and that we can have a better relationship in the future.
Mhm.
And I'm just happy that like I still have a mom, you know, like she's alive and she is in contact with me, and I don't really have any negative feelings toward her just because there's so much on her side I'm sure I don't understand, you know. You can't just think the worst.
What do you know about her as of today?
What do you mean?
Like what is she up to? What is she like?
Well, I don't really know a lot about her today. Like I would say today she's almost like a stranger to me.
Mhm.
Like I can show you pictures and stuff like on Facebook, but she's definitely become like a very like private, isolated person, and I don't want to speak on what she's doing or whatever because I believe she's sober and she's not doing anything bad like that, but I think
Mhm.
she's just trying to better herself and work on herself, and that maybe it's best that she's doing that away from us so it's not something that's going to affect us.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel bad for my sisters because, like, I was 12 when she left, and my sisters were, like, 9 and 7 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And at least I had, like, my elementary years, like, with parents that were together. And it just sucks because I feel like my sisters have, like, a lot less memories of us all together as a family. And it's just not fair to them.
How do you think it's affected them?
Well, I'm sure it's affected them in a lot of the same ways it's affected me, but I just, like, feel bad because I feel like I have kind of, like, gotten on them about a lot of things. Like, you know how moms will, like,
Mm-hmm.
bitch at you or whatever
Yeah.
about, like, stupid stuff. I feel like I have had to do a lot of that just to, like, you know, try and, I don't know, I guess help them to grow into responsible adults. I don't know. Like, they're good people and they're doing great, but I just feel like I've been, like, the naggy, annoying sister in a lot of situations just because sometimes I feel the need to, like, bug them about stupid stuff like, oh, like, will you clean your bathroom? Like,
Mm-hmm.
stupid stuff like that.
Mom stuff.
Well, yeah, and, like, I clean. Like, I'll go to my dad's house and clean up sometimes just because it makes me feel better, and I like to help out when I can because my dad has done a lot for me in my life, and he deserves it.
How do you think it's affected your dad?
Well, I mean, you can imagine, like, what it would be like to have 3 young kids and then get mailed divorce papers thinking that your wife was going to, like, return to you and things would be okay.
Yeah.
But it's been hard. He's definitely healed a lot from then to now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember when he came home from work that day and, like, told me and my sisters and literally just, like, got on his knees and hugged us. And, like, they were all crying, but I didn't even cry when he told me because, I don't know, I think part of me was, like, in shock. But I feel like I also just hadn't, like, fully processed it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, like, when I would really think about it, it would definitely make me upset. But now I'm at a place where, like, you know, it is what it is. And,
It's become who you are.
well, yeah, it's a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ashamed of it or anything because, you know, it was out of my control. And I didn't do anything wrong, you know. Like, I was, like, a kid.
Yeah. How do you... With all of that, what do you struggle with the most?
You mean, like, growing up without a mom?
Just in general, what do you struggle in? What do you struggle with?
I feel like growing up without a mom, one thing that I can say is I feel like it's kind of affected, like, my self-image and, like, my self-confidence.
Yeah.
I feel like moms, like, are a big part of, like, where your confidence comes from, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, because I remember when I was little, like, my mom would braid my hair and, like, do all this mom stuff. And it just, like, it was there until it wasn't. And I feel like my sisters have been affected by that, too. And it sucks in a lot of ways, but it definitely has made me a stronger person. And I'm becoming more confident every day and just comfortable with who I am. And, you know, life goes on and I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like some sob story because everyone has sad things and bad things that happen to them, and that's just life. Like, the world is tough.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever contemplated suicide because of the things you've been through?
No, I would say I haven't. I mean, we all have our good and bad days, and we all have positive and negative emotions. And I would never want to make a permanent decision based off of a temporary feeling.
Totally.
And I would never do that to my sisters and my family because, like, after your mom not being in your life, like, imagine losing, like, your older sister too. Like,
Totally. That fucked them up.
And they don't deserve that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't deserve that. That would be, like,
It would be too much.
I would like regret it, you know?
Well, you couldn't because you'd be dead. Just kidding.
My spirit would regret it.
Has drugs and alcohol affected your life?
I would say yes, but in a way, just seeing like how it has affected the lives of others.
Mm-hmm.
And as a reflection of that, it shows me what I don't want my life to be like and who I don't want to be. I mean, like I said, my mom grew up in North Dakota, and on the reservations and stuff, like, there's some really bad stuff that goes on, and, like, bad drug stuff, like, gang-related stuff. Like, it's pretty serious, and I've just been told, like, a lot of different stuff about, like, family members on my mom's side that have just gone down the wrong paths, and they regret it, you know? Like, it's not really worth it. And, I mean, yeah, like, I like to have fun with my friends, you know, we're young. We like to have fun sometimes, but I don't like to, you know.
You wouldn't say you abuse drugs and alcohol to deal with your mom's lack of love?
No, I wouldn't say that I abuse anything like that in order to cope. I feel like I'm really good about just, you know, having myself and processing my emotions in my own way. I feel like I've become a lot better at that as I've gotten older.
Why do you think you were dealt that hand?
I mean, I can't really say. Like I said, the situation is out of my control, and I only know, like, our side of the story. Like, as far as I know, like, our mom isn't in our life for a reason, whether that is to, like, protect us from stuff she's dealing with or what, but I'm just happy that out of two of the parents that I have, if I would have had to only have one in my life, then I would definitely choose my dad, just because he took care of us and provided for us and had a good job and has always been there and put us before himself. And I feel like my mom left because she needed to go work on herself and deal with her shit before trying to raise kids and put that on them, you know?
Do you think she'll ever come back?
I think that I'll definitely see her again. I mean, I don't know if she'll want to come back here, but I definitely would like to see her. And I'm sure that she's going to want to see us, you know, especially if we, like, start having kids or any of that. Like, I don't imagine, like, a mom would want to miss out on all that.
Do you want kids?
As of right now, I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, if I could choose, then if I were to have kids, I don't want them until probably, like, closer to age 30 or even after 30, just because I'm still figuring out life for myself, and I'm still learning how to take care of myself, and it's so expensive to have a kid. And I'm trying really hard to save my money and to just live my life and really just figure myself out, so if I do ever become a mom, I can be a good mom and compensate for what I didn't have, you know?
Totally. Let me ask you the podcast questions, okay? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Why is there birth?
To create life. I mean, none of us asked to be born. I mean, my earliest memory is, I mean, I feel like I have a hard time remembering a lot of stuff before I was 5. I mean, I feel like there's certain, like, moments and things that I remember of maybe being, like, 2 or 3 or 4, just, like, small, stupid moments that aren't that significant, but for some reason they stuck with me.
Right.
But
Isn't
like
that
I
weird?
said, that's a deep question, because it's like, what is our purpose? Like, why are we born? Are we just like a number, or is everyone, like, does everyone have a purpose, you know? And I don't know, I feel like birth is a thing so we can learn and grow into intellectuals. I don't know.
How come it leads to death?
Birth leads to death because everything must come to an end eventually. And I mean, death is kind of a weird topic for me. It's bittersweet, I would say, because, you know, when people are suffering, a lot of people would rather be dead than be hurting, you know? And I'm talking about, like, people, like, old people, like, on their deathbed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And birth leads to death just because, like I said, like, all things must come to an end, and we don't know how much time we have. Anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were talking about how you almost hit someone with your car. Like, either of us could die, like, tomorrow. You never know.
Totally.
And it's actually, like, a really scary thought.
But at the same time, to me, what was I thinking today is that you just have to enjoy every moment, you know, not get caught up in the stuff that truly doesn't matter, like the past and the future. You know, obviously it does, but this moment right now is the only thing that will ever matter, you know?
Yeah, I've been trying to work on that because I've spent so much time, you know, worrying about stuff that has already happened and dwelling on the past. Like, do you ever just randomly think of, like, something embarrassing you did, like, years ago and just, like, cringe?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do that all the time, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, it happened, it's over with. Like, no one else is thinking about that except you right now.
I'm sure I got plenty of those, as we all do.
Yeah, me too. And the same thing goes with the future. Like, I've spent so much time just worrying about what could happen, you know, overanalyzing situations and playing things out in my head. But things are never the way they seem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before I came on your podcast, like, I've just been thinking about it, and, like, this office space is nothing like I thought it would be.
Where are you thinking it would be?
I don't know what I was expecting, but this is definitely a lot nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Good. What do you think's after death?
Well, I think that we are spiritual beings having a human experience,
Mm-hmm.
and that when our bodies die, our spirit and our soul doesn't. And I'm really not sure, like, what happens, but my mind is really open to it. I would like to think that there's more to life than just this, and that this is just, like, phase 1, you know?
Phase 1. I like it. There's got to be a point of the stuff in between, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, all that paranormal stuff is definitely, there's some truth to it for sure.
Got any alien or ghost stories?
Kind of. I wouldn't say, like, ghost stories, but I've experienced, like, sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Well, it's actually really weird. I've noticed that it has only ever really happened to me, like, in my room at my dad's house.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to my dad's house before.
Totally.
It's only ever happened to me in my room at my dad's house. And have you ever had sleep paralysis?
Kind of. I sleep with lights on, so...
Well, what do you, like, know about sleep paralysis?
That you wake up and you can't move, and you're kind of in a dream almost, right?
Kind of. Well, the best way that I can explain it based off of how I've experienced it, because it's been a while, but I would always, like, I would be laying on my back, and I would, like, wake up, and I would be, like, staring at the ceiling, and your heart is just, like, pounding, like, really bad anxiety. Your heart is just pounding, and you're, like, scared, and you can't really move or anything. And I just remember, like, I would always just want to, like, just roll over and put my face in the pillow and just, like, try and go back to sleep. And some of the times I would just feel like either, like, something was, like, on top of me, or there was just something, like, in the room. Like, it just is, like, a weird feeling. And, like, not being able to, like, talk or move is very, like, it's a scary feeling, like, not being in control of your body. And every time that I've had it, I just kind of lay there, and in my head I'm literally just saying, like, you know, just, like, please make it stop, you know, like, help me, Jesus, just, like,
Mm-hmm.
just help me, like, go away, like, I don't like this. And it eventually stops. But I just think it's weird that it has only ever happened to me at my dad's. And it's one of those things, like, when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, I almost, like, don't want to go to sleep because I can feel when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's, like, super weird. Like, I remember the most recent time it happened was, like, less than a year ago. Like, maybe even, like, 6 months ago or whatever. I, like, stayed at my dad's for a night because I normally am in town. And I remember I was, like, laying in my bed. And my bed is kind of, like, against the wall, so when you're laying down, you can, like, see the stars through, like, the window right there.
Yeah.
And I was, like, laying there just, like, looking at the sky. And I thought that, like, are you ever looking at the sky and you're like, oh, I swear, like, that star just, like, blinked or, like,
Yeah.
like, stuff like that. And I just, like, thought it was kind of weird. And then I, like, got sleep paralysis that night. And it, like, freaked me out. Like, I think that paranormal and, like, aliens and all that stuff is, like, related.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like I was being, like, messed with or something.
Totally.
And it's really creepy. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I think it kind of has to do with, like, why it only happens when I stay at my dad's house. And the guy that lived in my dad's house before he bought it, because he bought it when I was, like, 2. So he's lived in that house for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like, the trailer park across from the gas station, like,
Yeah.
right when you turn off the highway? Well, the guy that lived in my dad's house was, like, really into guns. And he totally, like, shot his wife in that trailer park.
Whoa.
And then went and killed himself in the woods.
Whoa.
And his wife didn't die. He, like, shot... I think she was living in the trailer park. I think they were, like, separated, and she was living in the trailer park. And he, like, shot her, and I think she, like, pretended to be dead or something, because she didn't die. And then he, like, ran away and went and, like, killed himself. And it's, like, crazy because, like, my bedroom was, like, where he kept his guns at, because, like, when they bought the house, there were, like, thick metal bars, like, on the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I took them out because, like, I used to, like, climb in and out of my window and shit when I was, like, younger because, you know, stupid kids. But there were, like, these thick metal bars on the windows, and we took them off because that was, like, his gun room. And if you look, like, on the kitchen counter where, like, the bar stools are, there's, like, a chip out of the counter. Like, a gun went off and ricocheted off the counter.
Whoa.
And it, like, is crazy to, like... I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
No, it totally does,
But,
dude.
like...
It totally does.
And I just remember, like... It's, like, every time I stay at my dad's, like, when I wake up in the middle of the night, like, the bathroom is literally right around the corner from my room. But I don't even like to, like, get up and go to the bathroom because I just, like, feel, like, tingly. And
Yeah, it's...
I feel like I'm really sensitive to, like, energy type stuff.
Yeah.
And, yeah, sleep paralysis is not fun. And I definitely think that's what it is because, like, I've heard other people describe it, and it's very similar to what I've experienced. And
No, dude, that's crazy. That's like some... Do you want to know what I think it is? It might scare you a little bit. But I think it's like a fucking demon, dog, or like that guy's soul just like being like, get the fuck out of my gun room. Like, you took away my fucking guns, Elise, you know? Like...
Well, he sold the house before he did all that. Like, he obviously...
Maybe it wasn't that then. I don't know. That's still weird, though, because, like... I don't know. Like, energy, you know, like, stays in the room. Like your thoughts, like, produce energy, right? The things you say, like, when you say them, the words come out and energy comes with them. And so in his room, your room, where this energy of guns and violence and hate and killing and blah, 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 like, that has to create a sort of energy in that room that, like, doesn't ever go away, you know?
Well, I wouldn't say the energy in my room is bad at all, like, because it's more than just that. I mean, I remember when I was little, like, do you ever, like, see stuff from the corner of your eye?
Yeah.
Like, you think that you see like someone standing there or whatever, and then you look and there's like no one there, and it kind of weirds you out.
Totally.
I definitely have like had that happen like at my dad's house. And even like my sister's, because my sister Miranda's room is on the bottom floor too, but my other sister's room is upstairs. And we have like curtains and stuff over our windows, because whenever there's not like windows that aren't covered at night are kind of just creepy in general.
Totally.
And we just always like think that we see like that like an alien or something is gonna like peek in our window, like, because I kind of believe in all that stuff, and
Totally.
it's just better to just cover it, or else your mind just tells you that something's there. And there's nothing scarier than just like laying in your dark room at night, like huddled in the corner, just like
Yeah.
being creeped out.
Totally. That's why I sleep with lights on, dog. I don't fuck with it. I hate sleeping in dark rooms. It terrifies me, honestly. I have to sleep with like full on Christmas lights, because like if I wake up in the middle of the night, like I gotta see what the fuck's going on, you know? Like I have to know, like if I hear something and it wakes me up, right? Or sleep paralysis, right? Or some shit like that. It's like I gotta know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah, I'm not scared of it or anything, because I wouldn't even say that my dad's house is like haunted or anything. Like, the energy there is fine, but I just like, it's just something I've noticed, especially not like staying there most of the time now.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I was staying there all the time, most of the time it would be fine. But
Yeah.
it was just one of those things that would randomly happen, and it's just like, what the heck? Like, I don't like that.
I totally, yeah. Me and my brother and my mom were talking about that the other day, about how our childhood houses, my mom's and my dad's house, were both like, there's some weird shit that went on there, you know? Like, nothing I can think of, no like wife killings or anything like that, but like, just like, you know, energy, and like I got a couple of stories, but like the one that's like so real to me and I cannot explain it is at my dad's house. Growing up, we would always hear this like just tapping, right? Not wood creaking, not a squirrel like clawing at the walls, no, nothing, right? Just pure tapping, right? And it would happen like all of the time randomly. And I remember like one time being like, me and my brother shared a room, because so I used to, okay, hold up. So I used to have my own room at my dad's house, right? When I was super young, but I would always go into my brother's room because I was so scared to sleep in there. And I have like memories of like seeing like a black shadow in my closet or some weird shit like that, dude. And so I would always go into my brother's room, and eventually we're just gonna like live in the same room together, right? We're just gonna sleep together. And so then like as we're in that room, we'd hear that tapping like probably like once a year randomly, right? Just randomly, whatever. And I'd always be like, I always think it was Andrew doing it. And then one time I was like, Andrew, stop fucking tapping, right? He's like, dude, that's not me. And I was like, whatever, Andrew, right? And I just went to bed and whatever. We probably both thought it was each other, right? And so then eventually Andrew moved out and it was just me. And then I had my friend Jordan come over, right? And the tapping did it again, right? And it was like all over like the bunk beds, right? It was just like tapping. And I was like I was thinking to myself, I was like, how would Jordan know how to do that? Like, how would Jordan know about that, right? I've never told him before. He would have no idea like anything about this, right? And so I was just like, Jordan, like, is that you? He's like, dude, I thought that was you. Why you, like, what is that? And I was like, I told you, bro. Like I was like, you want me to turn on a movie or some shit? And I don't even remember what I said, but
yeah, I totally relate to that. You actually like kind of unlocked a memory for me, because when the sleep paralysis thing would happen, like sometimes I would feel like I saw like a black figure kind of in the corner too. Even in the dark, like I felt like it just looked like darker, you know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, like I've not always. I guess I can't say I've always slept with the light on, but I remember one time I slept with the light on in that old room, and I thought I saw the shadow, and like maybe I made up this memory or it was a dream or whatever, but I thought it was a gorilla, right? Because I was super young, right? I'm like so young. I just remember seeing this like shadow in my closet and thinking it was a gorilla, and then like I don't know. I remember hearing like silence, right? Like how you can hear silence.
Yeah, it's like your ears are almost ringing almost.
Yeah, totally. I remember just hearing that all like that room was always just so quiet.
It's like too quiet.
It was so scary, dude. Fuck that room.
Yeah, and you were talking about how you would like sleep in your brother's room or whatever because it made you feel safer.
Yeah.
I actually did that too. I remember one time when I was little, it was like after me and my sisters had gone to bed and my parents were like upstairs watching TV or something. And I was like sleeping or something, but I remember like I ran up the stairs like as fast as I could, like, and I literally like threw myself at my parents and I was like, help me. Like something like chased me upstairs or something.
Yeah.
And it like really freaked me out. And then after that, like me and my sisters both slept upstairs in my sister's Zeta's room. Like we just had a big like queen mattress and we would just all sleep in there for a while just because that's like what was comfortable. And it like freaked me out. And it might have just been a bad dream or whatever, but like I don't know. Just when you're a kid, like that once you get freaked out once, you kind of just like it really sticks with you.
Totally, dude. Totally. And like whatever it is knows that, so they can't pull the same card again cuz like I don't know, like I feel like people make the argument like, well, it's like if I was a ghost, why would I fuck with people? I wouldn't care about people, but it's like, dude, if I was a ghost, I would totally fuck with people. Like I would do exactly how like this kind of shit happens right now. Like I wouldn't make it obvious because then like they would know, right? And they would like get a priest or like if that's the case, right? If that's the whatever, they would get rid of me, right? If ghosts were real, I would do two things. I would do exactly what ghosts do, where it's like little subtle things. It's like things that you don't have definite proof of, because like that's what kills it. Like we know that, right? We know that the things that like irritate us the most is not knowing, right? If a ghost pops up and is like, what's up, motherfucker, I'm a ghost, you're gonna be like, I'm scared, but I know for a fact that's a ghost.
Right.
But if you hear like random tapping or like a cup falls or like there's a shadow, it's like, well, like maybe like it could be like right? You come up with things trying to rationalize it because you just don't know.
Right. And you kind of you can't be scared because I feel like ghosts and spirits or whatever, like if they know you're scared, then they're just going to keep on messing with you.
Totally.
Because, I mean, what if they're just bored,
Exactly. I mean, like that's like the second thing I would do. And I feel like why there isn't so many ghosts, like, right? Like there's been so many people that have died. It's like, wouldn't like the whole world be infested by ghosts? But I feel like if you're a ghost, dog, you could go anywhere in the universe.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like once you die, like, I think I would like to think you kind of have a choice, like, where you want to be and what you want to do. And maybe, you can go wherever you want and do whatever you want. And I don't want to think that, like, if you die somewhere, then your spirit or whatever is, like, stuck there. Like, I would like to think that there's like more freedom, that we'll have more freedom after we die than we currently do.
Totally. It's like, I don't believe in heaven or hell. I think that's stupid, right? And like that is a whole nother argument when it comes to just like what Frank said, dude, that shit's so smart. It's like Christianity has only been around for 2,000 years. So what about all the millions of people that lived before that? Do they just all go to hell because Jesus wasn't around yet? Like that's such a good point. And it's like, I just don't like that idea of eternal happiness in heaven and eternal hell damnation in hell, because it's like, then what's the point of like even giving existence, right? I feel like afterwards it's gotta be like, okay, like it's like, okay, you did great that time, but like this next time, this next go around, you're not gonna have two legs. How are you gonna deal with that? I guess you'll learn, right? You'll figure it out if you can pull through, right? Or if you like, that's like, I think one thing I will agree with what like the Bible says or whatever is like if you like commit suicide, it's like you're punished to hell because you gave up, right?
Right.
Like that kind of like mindset I think is true. It's like you gotta tough it out, you gotta pull it out, you gotta like admit your shit, right? Some people's lives are way worse than mine, 100%. So it's for me to say this is naive, but it's like you gotta tough it out, you gotta pull through, you gotta like get to the end goal. If you die a horrible death, well, the next time it's gonna be okay. But at least you never gave up, right? You can take that to your grave that you never gave up. You always kept going through, and I think that's the point. Is like pushing through whatever the fuck life throws at you. What are your thoughts on religion?
Well, like you were saying, like Frank was telling you, I listened to his podcast and I kind of liked what he had to say. It was definitely a new perspective. Like he talked about how Christianity was only discovered like 2,000 years ago. And I was like, when my parents were together, I was kind of raised Christian, I guess. Like we went to church. I don't know if the Grace Church is still across the street, but we went there for a while. And I remember like when I was a kid, there was like a group of people that came to the house and prayed one time for whatever, like weird energy or something.
Maybe your dad was experiencing some of the same things.
I don't know the specifics. Like even about like the guy that previously owned the house and that whole situation. Like I'm just going off of what my parents have told me. But like Frank was saying, like religion is kind of up for interpretation, I guess, and I feel like every religion is very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the same idea, but different gods or different names and different like values. I feel like a lot of religion is, it's kind of a hard thing to talk about because you don't want to like offend anyone, but I don't know if I would consider myself still Christian. I definitely believe in God or like a higher power. Like I just know in my heart that like there's something, there has to be something. And I feel like religion kind of separates people in a lot of ways because there's literally so many different religions and I can only name a handful of them like off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, like I think we all just want to have something to believe in and something to like, look forward to and something to like rationalize like our lives. And
I definitely agree. I think it's a coping mechanism. You're right. Like kind of like not kind of just like kind of pushing off all of your problems onto something else and not like understanding what's really going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what the fuck really is existence and experience. It's more like I'm too scared to open up that Pandora's box that I'm just gonna follow the crowd and I'm gonna like it's like I'm gonna sin on Saturday, pray on Sunday, and then do it all over again next week, right? Because it makes me feel better, That kind of mindset I feel like a lot of people have.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that our beliefs should have like a label. Because I don't know about you, but I think a variety of different things and like believe a variety of different things. And it's hard to like categorize like yourself and what you believe in by like one religion. Like, oh, I'm Christian, and like just to say that it just sounds too like
it puts
broad.
you in a box.
Yeah, it puts you in a box. Like I'm so much more than that. And there's seriously so much we don't know. And like I said, I think religion kind of separates us because everyone wants to feel like they belong and that they're loved and that they have a place in the world. And whether you're worshiping like Buddha or God or Satan or whoever, like, you have your reasons for believing those things, and I don't think that people should be judged based on what they believe in, because like I said, like, all the gods, like, have something in common, I feel like. And it's all, I feel like the Bible and religion and all this stuff, I feel like a lot of people kind of just, like, twist it and run with it to make it fit their ideals. And they justify, like, what they do based on, you know, words that have been interpreted, like, over and over and over again.
Totally.
And yeah, I just... What else was I going to say? I feel like religion, yeah, I feel like it separates people. And a lot of people they don't really, like, want to think for themselves, you know? They want to, like, be told what to think. And a lot of people are like that. Like, a lot of people want to be told what to think, and they want to be sheep. Yeah. And they don't want to figure things out for themselves. And, like I said, I just want to live my life and experience things and grow spiritually and just as a person. And just learn more about, like, everything, especially the stuff that isn't talked about.
Like what?
Well, I mean, you were talking about how you were telling your boss about, like, turtles and how, like, weird they are, and just, like, any animal, you could just, like, think about it and be like, that's so weird. Like, that's so weird and interesting and crazy that's just, like,
it's like
how it is, you know?
Yeah, it's the classic. Well, it's like, here's what I said to my boss, right? Because I didn't say it on the podcast. It's like, oh, how weird turtles are because they have a shell and they're born with their own house, right? Blah blah blah. But for me, what I keep so dear to myself is childlike wonderment, because I feel like when you get rid of that childlike wonderment, a part of you dies. It is a stage of death, is to get rid of wonder. Why? And it goes back to the childhood curiosity of, why are we going camping? To go outside. Why are we going outside? Because it's nice outside. Why? Right? You ever doing that to your parents? Just kept going with why.
Million questions.
Exactly. Because as a kid, you're so curious about the world, but then as you get older, you kind of give up on trying to figure out the answers, and just... You
become programmed.
You do become programmed. You get sucked into whatever you allow yourself to get sucked into, you know?
Yeah, well, I think about this, and, like, I mean, we graduated, a couple years ago? Like, think about how much of our life has been spent just sitting in a classroom, or, like, sitting there, like, listening to, like, someone talk, or, like, sitting there taking notes. Like, we've spent so much time just, like, trying to get it done, you know? Just jumping through the hoops, trying to graduate to, like, fill all those requirements. And I feel like I'm almost jealous of kids that were homeschooled, because, I mean, based off of, like, how you're schooled or whatever, like, I feel like going to school, it kind of, like, kills your curiosity and, like, your creativity, and we all just become, like, just not even knowing who we are and what we want in life.
We get brainwashed. Here, I've said this before. It's like, the quote is that life's not a race, life's a dance, right? The best music composers would only play one note if life were a race, but life's a dance, because in dancing you can choose your partners, your music, your dance moves, and there's no set spot on the dance floor you have to end at. You just go at your own pace and then when you want, because that's what life is. And in school and the 9-to-5 job, we get brainwashed into thinking life's a race. You have to get your midterms done by April 31st. You have to get it done now. You have to get your insurance quota up now. You have to do this now. Like, by the time you graduate, you got to go to college, and after college, you got to get the car and the kids and the wife and blah blah blah. But that pressure of trying to be accepted by social cues, right? that destroys who you truly are as a person, and that's a part of dying, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, when I was a kid, like, you remember being a kid, like, life was so much more exciting. And I feel
We're
like
going to Walmart.
I feel like
You know?
even like colors were brighter,
Yeah.
you know? Like I feel like everything just like seeing that world through the eyes of a kid is just so different. Like nowadays, like you look around and you see so much more like negativity, and it's hard to like not see the negativity in everything just because the world is so negative.
Totally.
And people, like some people are just so negative. And it's hard to think for yourself and be positive. And the reason I brought up like how we've spent so much time in school is because like once I graduated and I didn't have to like sit in a classroom and, you know, take all these notes and stuff, it just has given me time to just like reevaluate and just think for myself. And like even when you go to college, like how many kids are actually happy like doing all this homework and taking all these classes just to graduate, to get the job that they don't even know if they want or not. Like I hated the idea of having to pick like what you wanted to do for the rest of your life before you're even out of high school. Like you haven't even experienced life yet. You've just spent all your time in school. And like I'm thankful for school because I've met like a lot of really cool people and I've experienced some cool things, but I also feel like, you know, once you go to like especially public school in a small town, like you just become so wrapped up in like how other people perceive you, and you like compare yourself to other people, and it's so easy to get lost in like just the bullshit of like high school, and to like look past that and realize that, you know, 10 years from now it's not really going to matter. Like
2 years from
yeah, exactly. Like I look back at high school and like it wasn't very long ago at all, but most of the stuff I spent worrying about like does not matter at all.
Right.
And like people are off doing their own thing. Like people are just so worried about themselves. Like no one's gonna remember the stupid shit you did like in high school.
8th grade science class, September 31st, when you said that one thing to that one girl. You know, like doesn't matter. I totally agree. It's it's the thing that I am so glad I didn't do is not go to college, because, and I am not ruling out college at all. I am still very much considering it, because it's always going to be there, right? It's never too late to do anything. And like that is the number one thing I think a lot of people, a part of giving up, right, is that they just think, oh, it's too late. Oh, it's too late. I can't do it. And like that's so not true. Like it is never too late to do anything in life. Apologize to someone, go to school, anything like that, you know? It's never too late. But for me, it's like, you know, I'll share like what I went through. It's like I got out of high school and I had big dreams and hopes, and what would I do? I would smoke weed all day and think about it, dream about it, and not do anything about it, right? Every single day, just like I can't wait to do that tomorrow, or a month from now, or blah 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 blah, right? Tomorrow became next week, and the next week became next month, and next month became next year, because you're always, at least for me, and how weed affects everyone differently, but for me, like weed just made me so unproductive, right? It made me like not, it didn't, I wouldn't say it made me unproductive, but it gave me a false sense of satisfaction and productivity. And I got a reality check by getting in trouble with the cops. That's a whole nother story on its own. But, you know, I eventually had to stop smoking weed, and then I found a little art studio where I can paint, and then that led to this, and then this led to that, you know, and all of that wouldn't have happened, right? Me realizing so much about myself and been given so many opportunities, and now doing a podcast, right? None of that would have happened if I went to college. You know, none of that would have happened. Who knows who I would have been today?
Yeah,
you know?
and weed isn't even, it's not a bad thing at all. And I mean, just you getting in trouble, yeah, that sucked, but in the long run, it gave you more opportunities. And, like, there's always going to be weed, you know? You can always, like, dabble in that or whatever. Like, it's a plant. It has a lot of really good benefits, and I definitely am a supporter of weed. What was I going to say? I was going to say I would definitely rather spend my 20s, like, living my life and not feeling stuck and trapped into a career that I'm not feeling confident about. I would rather spend this time to just live and be and figure myself out rather than, you know, being in college and getting this degree and then getting out and being like, you know, like, what am I doing? Like, I didn't take the time to even step back and take a breather and just, like, reevaluate my life and what I want and
who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's like, yeah, you might have this diploma, but, like, do you know, like, who you are and, like, what you want in life? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to use your diploma for, you know? Like, and when I was going to NIC, there was, like, a range of different ages. There were people, like, in their 30s and 40s, you know, that finally, like, they figured out what they wanted to do, and they're going to go take those courses and do what they have to do because they know what they want.
Exactly.
And yeah, I took some courses and I have some credits, and I can always go back and build on those credits, but if I don't know what I want, then it almost feels like a waste of time and energy.
Well, exactly that. It's like you could spend all that time thinking you want to become a lawyer, and then you're done with the bar associate, right? Everything that it requires to become a lawyer, and you realize you fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And you love being a photographer or a painter or a janitor, right? Anything under the sun that you love, like that's what you should do. And to give college credit is that I feel like you do get a lot of opportunities to stick your spoon in and try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Meet somebody that is, you know, he's a chiropractor, right? And you're like, maybe I want to do chiropractic, and you talk to him for a little bit, and you're like, I fucking hate it, you know, or whatever. So I would give college that it definitely opens up so many avenues versus, you know, staying at your 9-to-5 job, not meeting new people, not doing anything new. Like, no shit, your time's gonna go by fast. You're not doing anything new, you know. Like, that's something I've realized is like, that's like, to go back on why as a kid in high school everything seemed to last so long and be so much better is because everything you did was brand new, right? Going to school, meeting this person, having the first lunch at the blah blah blah, getting out of school for the first time. Hey guys, what's Subway? I've never been there. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Right? You're doing all of these new things, right? And then once you're out of high school, whatever path you decide to go down, I think the most painful, like the dumbest path you can take, and the path that I've been doing for the past 2 years, is a 9-to-5, doing the same thing every single day and not doing anything different, because nothing new will come and nothing will enhance your life because it's always the same thing, you know?
If you're looking at it that way, but you also have to look at it like, aren't you glad that you're at least, you have a steady income and you're not in a dorm room at some university, broke, already in a bunch of debt, working on a degree that you don't even know if you want?
Well, that's if you compare it to college, right? But I'll say this.
But it's like, what else would you be doing right now? You're 20 You're 20 years old. What 20-year-old has it figured out?
No one. I'll say this, though, when it comes to that, is your life worth more than your life savings?
No.
Right? So,
like, money is literally just a number, mm-hmm. and I hate how glorified money is. Like, the world it's all about money. Mm-hmm. It's literally everything. Like, college, school, it's all just about how much money you can make and how successful you can be. That's, like, all anyone cares about. And I'm thankful to be a 20-year-old, you know, in the year 2021, because I feel like it's becoming a lot more normalized to not go to college like right away or even in general. And you know, like I go on TikTok and you see like all these people doing such cool things with their lives that don't have to do with schooling or college, and it's just all about experience. And it feels good to know that I'm not alone in not being in school right now, and that I'm not alone in just wanting to like live my life and
totally
be 20, you know.
I totally agree. I think, you know, I think there's two parts of it. One is you got to apply yourself, right? Nothing in life will ever happen unless you do it, right? If you want to like for me, it's like I want to go to Iceland. Iceland would be fucking sick. And I was looking at it, it's like it's so much stuff you got to do, but Iceland's not going to come to me. If I want to go to Iceland and have that experience, I got to put in so much work to get there. Get my passport, get my star card, right? Money, blah, 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 blah. Or a bus, right? If you want to get a bus, live in a bus, you got to build a bus, got to buy the bus, blah, 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 blah. You got to do it yourself. And the second thing that like goes into that is it's just what you like, whatever you surround yourself in when it comes to just your surroundings, obviously, and what you feed yourself every single day, that's what you're going to become. If you're constantly negative, comparing yourself to people you don't give a fuck about, then like, of course you're going to be a loser, because you're always comparing yourself to someone that's better than you, even though you don't even give a fuck about that person, right? And if you're always thinking negative thoughts, I'm not good enough, I'm going to be a loser for the rest of my life, well then yeah, you are. Because you are the shepherd of your own future and fate. And to go back to religion, just like for this little nugget of information, when people say Jesus is love and Jesus is our savior, fuck that. You're your savior, you're your love, and you are your God, right?
Right. You know, yeah, I mean, attitude and mentality really is everything at the end of the day. I mean, you see rich people that have everything, like fucking spoiled, rotten, that are still miserable and unhappy, and it's never enough for them. And then you see people on the other end of the spectrum that have little to nothing, and they're some of the happiest, most genuine people you've ever met, because materialistic stuff doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. At the end of the day, all you have is yourself. Like,
it's just what you value.
Your body and
you
and what you care about. And
like if you value a mansion, Mercedes, yachts, well yeah, you're never gonna be fucking happy until you get that, because that's what you value. But if you value living on the street, smoking crack, sucking dick, right? If that's what you value, if that's what makes you happy,
whatever floats your boat,
then do
right?
it, you know? As long as it doesn't go in the harm of someone else. That's a philosophical question, because if me killing you makes me happy, why should you stop me from killing you if it's going to make me happy, but it doesn't make you happy?
You know, just live and let live. Do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone or, you know, hurting the planet. And I don't know. I mean, like you've said before in your previous episodes, we're just in meat suits.
We're not meat suits.
We're not
meat suits.
I know, but I'm talking about like our physical bodies and how much we care about physical material things. And at the end of the day, like, this is just like a skin, you know? Like, we're all just living life, trying to figure out like what the point of it all is. And when you really think about it, like, everything is just so weird. Like, everything. You can stare at anything and just be like, who thought of this? Like, why is this a thing?
Totally. Like, totally. It's well, it's good you have that, because you haven't let go of the childlike wonderment yet. Some people just aren't conscious, aren't conscious. I think people who are just gray, right? I don't have to describe it any more than people who are just gray. They're not conscious. And if you don't understand that, then maybe you're one of the gray people,
Yeah, I just feel like, I mean, I definitely have my days where I feel like I shouldn't have stopped going to college. But at the end of the day, like, I like the fact that I'm thinking for myself and I'm not, just spending my time reading about philosophers and people that lived so long ago. Like, that's another thing I never understood about school. Like, we're only being taught what we're supposed to know, and we're literally learning out of books that were written like years ago. We're not learning about anything that's actually going on in the world.
Totally.
We're just learning about like the story that they want us to know. Like we don't know how history actually happened unless you know someone that experienced it or you saw it firsthand yourself. Like,
that's true. Whole point of the podcast, right? Boom.
Well, yeah, like
I'm just kidding.
Everything we know is a lie to a certain extent. Like the news, all of that is just like programming. I feel like
it's like it's total programming, brainwashing. It is. It's totally like the narrative that they create is all like the Vietnam War when it was being broadcasted, like the first war to ever be broadcasted, right? It's like people didn't see it for what it was. They only showed the good parts of the Vietnam War. Like, look at the American soldiers. They're taking the fucking Kongs, right? Being racist just for like the time period, right? They're the best people ever. And so then people are like, you know what? Yeah, I want to go do that. I want to be a fucking soldier, right? I want to go save our country. And they go there and they're like, I'm in the jungle. There's mosquitoes all over me. My friend literally just got shot right next to me. This is not what I thought at all. Same thing with today. We don't know what the fuck's behind closed doors, I don't trust the government. I don't trust politicians. I totally think there's shit that goes on behind closed doors. It's as easy as
like we know it. There has to be there's so much going on that we're not supposed to know about because, people will freak out and
it's as easy as proof. The proof is as easy as the Vatican, right? Motherfuckers, there are pedophiles in there. That's the church. That's what we're supposed to hold so highly, right? We're supposed to Jesus's love, the church's love. Like nothing bad happens in the church, and then it comes out that they're pedophiles. It's like if you can't even like trust that, why do people just find? It begs the question of why do people follow our president with a blind eye? Nose up in the air, they have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, a lot of people just want something to believe in, and they just want to believe in something because it gives them hope and makes them feel safer. And a lot of people just don't think like how we're talking right now.
Totally.
And it's hard to have these conversations with just anyone. And when you really talk about it, it really makes you get in your head and it trips you out and you're kind of just like, what the fuck are we actually doing? Like, I feel like life wasn't supposed to be the way it is now, and that we're not supposed to spend all our time working jobs that we don't enjoy, trying to make money to pay bills that we shouldn't even have. Like, we didn't ask to be born, so why are we paying just to survive,
Well, totally. I love little things we say to each other that have such truth behind them, but we don't follow it, but we still say it. Like, living the dream. No, you're not. Why are you saying that? You're not living the dream. You know you're not, and you admit that you aren't. So why do you keep doing it? Right? Or like working for the weekend. You're spending your it's like if you work like 8, okay, my math is so off on this, I forgot what the video told me, but it's like you work 80 years, only 11 of those years you get to spend doing what you actually want to do. The rest is like working at your job. And so it's like we fucking know this, but we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending cycle.
You gotta end it. What do you think deja vu is?
Deja vu. I haven't gotten deja vu in a while, and I know a lot of people think that it has to do with like you recalling your dreams. And And I think that's true to a certain extent because I, for one, have like really, really weird dreams. And I feel like, do you ever feel like you have like the same dream more than once or like
Yeah.
similar dreams? Like
Yeah.
your dreams are all kind of connected in their own world kind of
Yes,
thing?
I totally have a fucking dream world. Yeah.
Like, I feel like, do you remember your dreams or do you usually
Oh,
forget
yeah.
them like right when you
I'm a
wake up?
super vivid dreamer.
Do you always remember like everything?
Not everything, but like I like that's so interesting you say that because I totally have a separate I'm like getting convinced that it's another dimension.
Like,
It's
yeah.
because like it's all the same, like it's different stories, but it takes place in the same world almost.
Well, yeah, and it's like, it's close enough to reality that it weirds you out, but it's like slightly different. Like,
What's your example? I'll tell you mine after.
well, what was I gonna say? Like, I feel like I go to sleep and like live another life almost, but I'm
Yeah.
the same person.
Totally.
And it's hard for me because when I'm dreaming, I feel like I'm so like in it. Like I'm literally like living it. And then I wake up and sometimes when I go back to sleep, I can't continue what I was dreaming about or whatever. Sometimes I'll have a completely different dream, but they all feel like related, like they're taking place in like the same universe. And it's hard to remember the details, but like I'll have dreams about like people that are in my life and like it might be like a weird dream or a weird situation, but it's just like it's weird. I don't really know how to explain it, but dreams are really weird and I would like to better understand them. But I love sleeping and I love dreaming. I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
I totally love. Yeah, I definitely do get a little anxious before I go to sleep. I really do because I do have intense dreams, and so I like the process of falling asleep is just so weird to me. Like one moment you're conscious and then now you're not. You're sleeping, but we don't remember sleep at all. We just sleep.
And we spend like half our lives asleep.
It's 1/3 of your life you spend sleeping. Um, I don't know. It's like hard to understand like being physically like unconscious, like because that's like I heard this one thing like when you like wake up right when you're like falling and you're like right, you know what I'm talking about? It's because your body thinks you're dying, right? Like your brain thinks you're dying, so it like wakes you up because you're not like
That actually happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like when you're like dozing off.
yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of like and wake up really quick, and I wouldn't say it feels like I'm dying, but it definitely like it's a weird feeling.
It's a
like
very weird feeling.
like your brain is ready to snap into that like other dimension and like dream.
Yeah, it's totally. It's like your soul, it like hits you back. Hits back into your body.
Yeah.
Because I totally think our soul controls the brain, right? The brain doesn't. The consciousness is not inside of the brain. Consciousness is separate from the brain, right? And like the brain is like an antenna to reality. And when we're dreaming, our brain can do whatever the fuck it wants. It can tune into whatever it wants. Like what I was gonna say earlier about like another dimension. I totally have this whole nother world. It's I call it the night realm because it's always night. It's never daytime. Like then sometimes I have like different dreams like where it's night or daytime and there's purple elephants smoking crack, whatever. Not actually a dream, but like it's always random when I go into this world and I like in my dream state I always know it's the same world. Right? I always know like I'm in the night realm almost, right? Because it's always night. There's like street lights and like sometimes there's no lights, but sometimes there's street lights and like something's happening, right? Whatever that specific example is, it's happening. But it's like that's a whole nother dimension. Like I love like when I dream that shit, like I love it. I totally like I love going into that world. And I don't know, dude, dreams are fucking crazy.
Yeah, they almost feel like they're real. You're just like I said, it almost feels like you're living another life. But at least for me, it's hard for me to remember a lot.
Uh-huh.
If I like right when I wake up, if I really sit there and think about it, then I can like remember. But I feel like deja vu might have a lot to do with that because at least like if I'm not remembering my dreams, then maybe I did experience like a similar moment or a similar feeling, and that's just you like kind of catching it.
Yeah. I definitely think deja vu is
I think all that
some
stuff
weird
is
shit.
real, or there's some truth to it. Like,
Because like science, like I like science. Science is dope. I really do like science, but I think science is like the code of the video game we're playing, right? Chickens have to lay eggs. The wind has to blow, right? But then when you have like stuff that we don't understand because our level isn't up there yet, science can't prove it. Eventually, like I'm sure science will have something to say about. Well, it does now with deja vu and dreaming, but those are just guesses, right? Hypotheses and consciousness. Like they don't know, and I don't think we ever will. And if we do, like, where's the fun in that? Like I'm saying, it's like when, like, if we knew heaven and hell were real, like, where's the fun? Because sometimes it is nice to be bad, right? Sometimes it is okay to sin, and I think, obviously, for the most part, you should be a good, well-rounded person. But like Frank's saying, like, I totally agree with that. I think you should explore your dark side a little bit, whatever that means, sexual proclivities or drugs or whatever. I think you should dabble a little bit in your dark side because that's a part of you, yin and yang, right?
right.
And like to just be so black and white as some religions are, it's like that's not how you should live life, in my opinion.
It's so smoky outside.
Yeah, fuck this world. Do you think the world's doomed?
Well, hang on. Let me get into that. I was gonna say, what was it that Frank was saying? He was saying that
Explore your dark sides.
yeah, he was saying that he brought up like the Bible and the story of Adam and Eve and how they ate the apple because they wanted to know truth and it like corrupted mankind.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's definitely some truth to that because you can't deny that the world is corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are all corrupt, like, and I don't think it's our fault, you know? Like if you want to take it down to like the 10 commandments, like do not do this, do not do that, like if you think the wrong thing, then you're sinning, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to control your thoughts. Like I think that, I mean, the world is obviously corrupt and there's good people and bad people. And that's why I like to think that there has to be something after this that's like more pure and like happier and like more like paradise, you know, because in a sense I feel like we're kind of like suffering right now.
Totally.
And we need to like experience all the bad things in life and feel all this negativity in order to fully appreciate like how perfect a person could be and how perfect life could be.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that things are supposed to be like sad and the world isn't supposed to be like, you know, just a big frowny face all the time.
Gloom, you know.
And when you say that we're doomed, like I wouldn't say doomed because whatever happens in the world, like all you can do is make the most of it and hope for the best. But I definitely think that in our lifetime, like some shit is going to go down and that we're going to see some crazy stuff that
we already have.
Well, yeah, like coronavirus,
Yeah.
like
just the beginning,
yeah.
Honestly, like that history like repeats itself, you know, and it does. I was watching this video and it does have a cycle of like, it's like at the beginning of like every other decade something happens that totally shakes the world.
Mm-hmm.
This at the beginning of this decade it was coronavirus, and then obviously in the 2010s nothing happened because it's every other century or decade. So then 2001 happens, 9/11, right?
Yeah.
And then like
There's always something. Like
I don't know, there's just shit. It's we can't understand it, you know? That's like I know like I like to talk big like this, but at the end of the day it's like you just gotta enjoy the moment, the little things. If you like drinking scotch on the weekdays, that's cool. You know, just like the little things that make you happy, that's what truly matters.
soak them up and enjoy them.
Yeah.
And
not trying to fucking understand how everything works, But where's the fun in that? It's the whole point of the podcast, dog.
Yeah,
Trying to figure out the secrets of the universe.
It's all about the little things, and I don't like to worry about, where I'm going to be in the future, or where I'm going to be 5 years from now, or even a year from now, just because worrying doesn't really get you anywhere. And like you said, like, we just have to enjoy the little things and enjoy the days. Be thankful you woke up. Be thankful that you feel good and your body's working. And
celebrate every single breath.
Well, yeah, because there's always going to be someone that would, like, we're taking our lives for granted. There's always going to be someone that wishes they had what you had.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always going to wish that you had something that the next person has. And that's just what it's like to be a person,
Totally. Yeah. I heard that, like, it's like when you complain about your jobs, right? I know, like, we were totally talking shit on this a little bit ago, right? But to flip the coin, it's like there's someone in the world that would kill you for your job.
Mm-hmm.
Not actually, but at the same time, yeah, actually, people in Uganda or whatever, not Uganda, but whatever, people just in Africa or wherever, third world poor countries, like, they want your job. Cleaning toilets, right? They fucking want that job other than what they're doing right now. Same thing with me, flipping burgers. Oh yeah, that's so nice. Like, that looks like paradise to them because they don't have anything. They don't even have clothes to wear. No drinking water. Mud is their water, right? So for them to, like, see us making food, right? Flipping burgers, cleaning toilets, they're like, that sounds like paradise to me.
Well, yeah, I hate it how people, stigmatize and talk shit on jobs that they see as, like, lower, because at the end of the day, like, it's like I have this job, like, I get to work, I get to get paid, like, I get to do this. And like you said, like, there's people that would literally kill just to have that way to make money, like, have that job to go to. Like, a job is a job at the end of the day, and you're a functioning member of society, and you're working, and you're, doing what you can with what you have. And I don't think that's something to be ashamed of. Like, if you have a job, then that's something to be proud of, regardless of what it is you're doing.
100%. Out of everything that you've been with, done with, and been through, what would you say to somebody that is going through a rough time?
I would say to just keep going and to really just stay positive and think farther ahead of what you're currently feeling. Like, if you're feeling shitty and you're having a bad day, just know that tomorrow will be different, and that it's a bad day. It's not necessarily a bad life. And to just remember that we all have our good days and bad days, and the bad days are what make us appreciate the good days. And I think it's good to feel every emotion, to just fully understand yourself and become stronger.
I like it. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Do you have any more questions?
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to follow my social media accounts for news and updates on future episodes. Links will be down below.